Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are checking out Tower of God Season 2, Episode 2. And honestly, I've heard a lot of things about this series, and I went into Episode 1 being like, I don't think this is that bad, actually. I think that it did a pretty good job of translating what happened in the webtoon, and obviously the style is different, but I don't feel like there's anything like super drastically different between the two. And some people have hinted that that's going to shift a little bit in terms of animation stuff as I go forward. So I'm still tentative in my opinions until I get into some more episodes in this series. But I'm also just enjoying getting to go back through some of the stories and remember what it was like to be introduced to Team Sweet and Sour and everything that was set up with them as characters before getting to the stuff that I'm dealing with now in the webtoon, because oh boy, there's so much going on. So I'm excited to get into this. I'm also hesitant because I remember the storyline and it ripped my heart out. So that'll be fun to relive. In 3, 2, 1, go. Uh-huh. No, I'm not bitter. See, like, this is pretty. I love almost like painting looking for the background. Good transition. Yeah, there's some parallels. Mm-hmm. Foreshadowing. Dang, the frown there. Look, Wingnut was like a little bit evil at the beginning of this storyline, wasn't he? But I think like the storyline coming up is gonna like have that shift. I remember this. Nothing bonds quite like sharing snacks. Aww. Look, you love them. Oh, it's the separation. You gonna leave him hanging? Terrible sense of self-preservation. But also friendship. Okay, but like he didn't kill you. So mm-hmm. Yeah, like you care about being lonely. Sorry. Anything with Rachel, I just like scoff and roll my eyes because I will never stop having beef with her. Doesn't matter if I can understand some of the context of it. I'm still just like, especially in light of other stuff that has happened in the series, where I'm at, always be testy. But I do think it's interesting to have kind of the setup of like being lonely at the top of the tower, setting up some of the stuff that's going to be happening with Bomb. Like where I'm at, I'm in like the middle, I think, of the Hell Train stuff. So having some of the setup of, you know, Bomb seeing this story as like not wonderful or like a feat or something, right? Like Rachel's telling this story through this lens of like, uh, isn't it wonderful that this person accomplished this, right? Because he was going after something that he wanted, that he created this giant structure, right? To reach those heights. And then you have someone like Bum who sees that and is like, wouldn't that be lonely? Like, wouldn't that be not a nice place to be? Like, wouldn't it be very isolating? And that's part of like a deep fear of his of like being alone. But then I think it also like pulls forward to some of the stuff that he has later about like what it means to be in the tower and progressing through it, right? Oh, my sweet darling. Oh, I love you so much. Even though I know what happens. I still. There's our girl again. I mean, she gets better. Mm-hmm. Like, don't ask me. I don't know. Ugh. You too. I mean, the fact that he's just called Lurker, it's on the nose, but the name does apply. Mm. I have a lot of names for you, but regular is not one of them. Mm-hmm. Oh, technicalities. Mm. Ugh. No idea what he's gotten wrapped up into. My sweet prince. He's a bit insufferable at this part in the story, but he gets better. He's a scary dude. Oh, shout out to my boy. And so it begins. All the players. Yeah, she needs to rein it in a little bit, but she gets better. Uh-huh. Everybody getting in debt. I love the mask of confidence to be like, thank you for giving me the whole evil villain speech. Everything gets more complicated. Mm-hmm. It's cool. You got a secret weapon. Ah! You just love him? Yeah. I mean, I like how everyone's just like, he's so cute. I'm like, he is. He's scary. But that just makes me adore him more. This one was pretty great. Just because of like what happens with Mom. Like it's a great way of showing the leveling up, not only like the hint of his fighting in the previous episode, but then this kind of like cementing how much Bomb has grown. The like suspenseful music building up. The like shaky cam too. Going with the hand that has the ring too. Oh. Oh. Well, that was underwhelming, wasn't it? I think that that's such an interesting line too of like I didn't ask to be born this way. There's so many people in the tower that just weren't born with the strength or with the privileges or with the training, right? Or with the money in this case, right? Look, like I was saying, Prince is a little insufferable at this point. He gets better though. He gets to be like just a kid later. Don't pick a fight with Teddy Bear. I'll fight you myself. Woo. Don't crack your fingers at me, thank you. Mm, long story. This is still a cool design. This is like blacked out eyes too. Dang, the voice acting there, he was like, he meant that. Show him. Oh, well, actually, I love how this works out though. Like, girl didn't even try. I like that love has snacks mood. Mm-hmm. About that. I mean, big talk for someone who gets cast as hostage quite a bit going forward. I'm just saying. Prince becomes a little bit of a damsel in distress later on. Only a little bit. The man, the myth, the legend. Yep. He's got this. Interesting music cue. I love how he didn't even like swing a punch. Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised that the system didn't like freak out a little bit. Oh, poor Wang Nun. Ooh, good overlay of like the watering of his eyes. Oh, strong single mom vibes there. Well, he's already made friends through the power of snacks. I mean, in the long line of the tower doing stuff that is like kind of shady or very shady, depending on the circumstance. The buildup of the scene, too. This is so like shonen protagonist moment. You need someone who can dance and sing. I mean, humility is also good too. That's a lot of commitment. But he is desperate. Like, it's either this or become a skeleton, so. He literally cannot retake the test, so. So much buildup. Mr. Cool Guy even is like, yeah, clear tears. Oh. Oh. Absolute sweet darling. Get away from my master. There's so much groveling. And I'm like, I know how this goes. I mean, he looks surprisingly well, considering that he was burned to a crisp previously. Let the man speak, he barely does. He could if he would. So moody. Fully in his emo phase. Fake. About that. I love how we got the Dutch angle after that. And you can see his eyes there too. I talk about that in the webtoon of when we can see his eyes and when we can't during this part of the story. Good foreshadowing there of being like, hey, I hear you loud and clear. We're gonna loop back to the whole him being a, so they called it like a Slayer candidate in the translations I have, but Slayer nominee in the webtoon stuff. Oh, the next game is a lot. But we also get some camaraderie between the roommates. Bit of kindred there. Because we had Wang Nan being like, I'm going to take down the families. The way that he puts the mask on, though, I forgot how much Wang Nan, like, changed between when people could see him and when they couldn't. Awkward. No. Oh, first time I get to see it with his hair. Was it was like there was like the one bath earlier, wasn't there? Anyway, I forgot that like he spiked his hair up so much. Yeah, everyone's wearing them. The subtle threat of that too, of being like, hey, be careful with this. That's changing the lighting there too. Like it makes me tense immediately. Oh, I don't like that sound in my headphones. I don't think I have to wait, do I? Because I'm like, I waited before because I was like interested. I don't know if we have extra scenes. I won't know yet. I don't need a preview because I'm like, I know what happens. I was curious about how much this is going to change because a lot of it is like the panels are blank. Well, they have like the symbol of Zahan, depending on how we're saying it. I already have that with when I'm reading the webtoon, I always call it Foog, and people are like, that's technically not the pronunciation. I'm like, I know, but I'm also an English speaker and I do not trust myself to enunciate properly. Like I know it rhymes more with bug. But I do not trust myself to enunciate clearly the number of times I have to say that word that I won't get my videos like suppressed or something. I'll have to check out the music as well because I've heard of the group, but little TVs. I mean, I guess I'm still in the tentative things were all right phase, because there were definitely some points in that where I'm like, ooh, that was a really good choice in terms of the overlay of the water kind of effect when we had Wang Yun's like POV and then he started crying, or the drastic change in the lighting between different parts, or even the moment that we meet Violet and having the kind of like the Dutch angle on him as well. I think that there were lots of cool stuff in that in terms of the animation choices. So again, I know I'm still gonna have to wait for a little bit before we really can have an opinion on that particular thing, but I think it's interesting to see some of the stuff, like we reminded some of the like minutia of what was going on at this part in the series and compare it to where I'm at reading the webtoon, especially with the like even just the little clip there at the end where they were like the little chibis of Wang Nan saying, "Isn't the way I grovel beautiful?" and Bom being like, "Is it?" as a funny little thing to put at the end of the episode. But also I think again it says so much about who Bom is as a person, because not only is he seeing being at the top of this tower above everyone else as like this lonely isolating place, but then also at that point of being like not wanting people to grovel to him, right? Not wanting people to be there and worship him or beg him for things or have power over them. And that in direct contrast to Prince, right? Who very much is thriving off of that. Very much the like spoiled rich kid in the beginning of this series, and him like evolving over time. And then having Bom who's like very much not interested in that, right? Like they could offer him anything and he'd be like, no, I want to go by myself. And the only reason he isn't is because that isn't the rules. He cannot progress further without taking people along with him. And even then he's going to isolate himself. So I think that it's interesting to have some of these little like pieces laying the groundwork for stuff that is later on, and me being like, oh yeah, we did lay that foundation super early on in learning about the characters and the way that they were introduced. So it's fun to have some of that with the knowledge of what is going on later on in the series, and I still have a lot to catch up on, but fun to get reminded of some of those details. And I'm just gonna get ready to have to cry like maybe the next episode, maybe afterwards. I'm not really sure about the pacing because season 1 was shorter and there's so much going on at this point in the series that I'm like, I'm not sure. I have an idea that we're probably going to end with workshop battle stuff, but I'm not sure because it'll depend on how all the pacing and stuff works out in this. But excited to, again, tentatively see how this series is going to be going forward. And you know what? Worst comes to worst, I always have the webtoon. So I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click those plays to go to my previous reaction, or you can subscribe to miss next time I post a Tower of God reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.